Okay, hello. I'm back. It's been a while. But I am here to tell you about the books I read in 2024. Yeah, I've not made a video in a while. At the end of last year, it was a series of very unfortunate events. I had to get a new car, some work-related stuff really took over my time, some personal stuff took over my time, and I was exhausted. And to be honest, I was exhausted, but I actually think it didn't really affect me I don't think it affected me too much. I feel like overall it was kind of fine. Maybe I was just kind of in a blur the whole time, that's what it felt like. But yes, I had no time or energy to make any videos, and even into January. But I'm here now, and now you all can stop wondering about what books were my top books in 2024. Okay, so I think, if I remember right, I read 79 books in 2024. I think I mentioned before that I got into using audiobooks, and also I got a Kindle, and so I read my first ebook last year, and then obviously I read a lot of physical books. I don't know the ratio, but I don't have a reading goal set. I mean, I think the year before I maybe read like 30 books. This has been a new thing to read this many books in a year. And I guess I was just in the mood for it. And I think that will continue for now anyway. I think I kind of reached out my branches a little bit into more talking to my friends about books a lot more, and kind of got over my fear, I guess, of, he's drinking really noisily. Yeah, I kind of got over my fear of this yeah, the fear of the like kind of perception that if you talk about books or know a lot about books, then pretentious or like want to seem smart and stuff like that. But actually it's just my hobby, and even though I make these videos and do talk about the books, I do not proclaim to be an expert at all. And honestly, most of my friends that I talk to have much more in-depth and insightful things to say about the books, but I still enjoy talking to them about them, even if my kind of analysis of them is just surface level. As what you'll probably find in this video, I sometimes struggle to actually articulate what I want to say, and often the time, like, I've been thinking a lot about what David Lynch says recently. Was very impacted by his death last week, but sometimes if you can't find the words to articulate something, then that's fine. It shouldn't always have to be said, and shouldn't always be said, because it's all individual anyway. And yes, I often find it hard to describe the actual feeling I get when I'm reading a book, and I often put myself down. That's the fact that I can't actually articulate what I mean afterwards, but getting over it anyway. But yes, read a lot of books, hope to read a lot more. To kind of break it down, I went through each month and I picked one or two that month were my favourites. So some of them are kind of ones that maybe wouldn't have made my top 10 favourite, but they kind of made it onto this list because I was selecting ones from each month. So yeah, I guess I'll just get started, and I'm hoping to be able to show you all the books that I did read each month. It took me too long to make these little things, but I did. So January, in the interest of not making this video 900 hours long, I'll try not to talk about them all. Some great books here, like Water for Chocolate I read for a book club, and it was very different. It was a magical realism which I had not even really known about before, and actually really enjoyed despite being a bit apprehensive about it. But my two top books for January, at first was In Cold Blood by Truman Capote. This is like considered the first true crime novel. It is a fictionalization of a true crime. There's a lot of kind of controversy around it, and I read this in January, so some of my thoughts are a little bit I'm doing this on the fly. I didn't prepare anything apart from these pictures. Why is he so frustrating? Here he goes. Yeah, fictionalized a true crime that happened, and I think he did take advantage of the two criminals that were caught. He had quite a close relationship with them while they were in prison. He got them to trust them, especially one of the guys, Perry Smith. Very interesting read. I think it is a modern classic, and I definitely think one to read. Obviously just take it with a pinch of salt with any true crime. My second best book of January, or my favourite, or whatever, was Small Things Like These by Claire Keegan. I don't have my copy because I've sent it off to Ireland, in fact, for my friend to read after he said he was quite moved by the film. I actually read it before I knew the film was a thing. One of my favourite YouTubers, and it's kind of spiraled into everyone has been raving about Claire Keegan, so last year I asked for Christmas, and by the end of this year I read 3 Claire Keegans. I read Small Things Like These twice. I reread it just recently before I gave it to my friend, but Small Things Like These is quite a short story. I won't say too much because she normally writes short stories. Small Things Like These is slightly longer, but I don't know how Claire Keegan writes like that. Like, she puts something. There's something in her sentences which are that should be so banal, but there's something in them, and it's not by accident. And now reading 3 of her works, I can definitely say that is not by accident, and she's just an incredible writer, and I would suggest anyone to read. So moving, and I would maybe say if you are going to read Small Things Like These, maybe wait till Christmas time, because it's kind of set around Christmas Eve. An amazing book, a 5-star, that's for sure. Moving on into February, my favourite book, again I've actually given this to one of my friends as well. I did read a lot of this in January, and now it's the 24th of January today, and I keep thinking about how this time last year I was reading this. One of the most unexpected 5-star reads ever. Even when I finished it, I don't really like star ratings, but I kind of gave it a 4-star, and then within a week I was like, no, what was I thinking? This book is drama, and it is The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexander Dumas. This I read for a book club where we read tomes. I think it's roughly around 1,300 pages. The biggest book I've ever read, which still might be the case. I read a lot of big books this year, but I think that's my biggest one. This book shouldn't have been for me, and I was quite apprehensive of going into it, but my goodness. The Count of Monte Cristo follows Edmond Dantes, who is convicted of a crime that he didn't commit, and he is sent to a very isolated prison on like an island, kind of like Alcatraz style. And when he gets out, he decides to take revenge on the 3 main men that put him there, and it is known as the original revenge story, and it is insane. It was like so episodic, but like I didn't lose that much interest. Like obviously within such a big book like that, there were some parts that you're just like, oh come on, but for how big it is and how dry it could have been, it was insane. Like I just like wanted to like watch another episode and see what like the bunch of characters were all getting up to, and how he was the Count was going about his plan. But yeah, I gave it to my friend who I thought would really like it, and he's just finished it. I need to see him to ask him how it was. Yeah, so that was my first book that I did read most of it in January, but I did finish it in February. And then my other favourite book for February was a series of Fortune Fence, A Bad Beginning. I got these for my birthday this year, so I think I read the ebook of The Bad Beginning, and then I asked my mum for the book, the box set for my birthday later in the year. So I actually didn't read this copy, but I've since read. I'd finished the Miserable Mill, which is the fourth one. But yeah, I'm just having a good time with these, and I obviously remember the first three because I've seen the Jim Carrey film a million times, but I don't really remember any of the stories after that. I probably stopped reading them before the final one came out, just as I grew up. So I'm excited to actually finish the series. I hated If on a Winter Night, A Traveller, FYI. Hated it. It was awful. I wish I'd DNF'd it. Like, I shouldn't have put myself through that. Next in March, I read these, and my favourite books from March were Poor Things Like These by Alistair Gray. And you can see that I tabbed this up. As you can imagine, a lot of things to say about Poor Things Like These. I actually saw the film first, which is not something I normally like to do, but I just couldn't not see it when it came out, even though I hadn't read the book yet. And it's basically, I mean, I feel like everyone who's watching this will know that it is a loosely retelling a Frankenstein story, that is. And the book is interesting. The film, incredible. I think the film took this book and rounded the edges of the things that didn't really sit right with me with the book. I do struggle with the book because I know Alistair Gray is a bit of a misogynist, and I find it hard to believe that he wrote this book. That's because I think the book is great, but I think the film captures what the book didn't. That's all. I told you I'm not very good at articulating myself. However, the book is great. As you can see, I've tabbed tons. A lot of these tabs are also like, I work in the anatomy world, and so I also obviously love Frankenstein. So a lot of this is just very entertaining to me. I'm now lost for words. But yes, Poor Things by Alistair Gray. A great read, but please watch the film. It's so good. It's so good. Everything about the film, maybe not everything, 97% of the film, immaculate. Emma Stone, immaculate. Mark Ruffalo, unreal. He was snubbed. Anyway, the second book I picked for March, God, this video is gonna be long, is The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. I listened to this. This is definitely not like going to go down as my favourite book in history, but I enjoyed this so much. Really didn't expect to. I kind of just needed something light to listen to, honestly, is to get to sleep. And I just picked up this on my library card, and it is I think it's one of 4 in a series, and to be honest, I might even listen to it again if I ever get my hands on the other books in the series. The Raven Boys is kind of fantasy, just like a coming of age, witchy, like about mystical stuff. Honestly, I don't really remember too much. I just remember having a great time. The narrator's voice on the audiobook was also just class. Moving on to April. So I read quite a lot. I think this was the month that I read the most. Oh god, I slogged through Middlemarch. Never again. it wasn't bad. I did like Middlemarch, but God, it is long and it didn't need to be that long. It really didn't need to be that long. This month read Drive Your Plough Over the Bones of the Dead by Olga. I'm not gonna try. I tabbed some of this as well. I read the majority of this while I was on holiday with my friends in Donegal. I kind of staycation in Ireland. I needed this book. Not that the subject matter really was reflecting how I was at the time. It made me feel quite grounded at the time, and I was amongst a lot of friends, and I needed that. I needed it. I needed the Irish winds. I needed friends, and I needed a really, really good book. And I got it within this, and I don't want to say too much about this. My friends within my own book club that I ran, we read this for January and December, and I'm so excited to see what my friends think about it. I thought it was incredible. I do still think I would have always thought it was really good, but I think a lot of it was situational. One of my friends who I know has finished it didn't like it, but I think he's wrong, and I still need to I still need to have a discussion with him about it. So Jamie, if you're watching, I need to brush up on my notes and look at my tabs, and I'll be having a nice discussion with you. I also have this bookmark. I really hope you can see. Can you see that? This is what my friend Megan put in my Secret Santa, a little painting of Dante and Theo as a bookmark. It is the nicest thing ever. So Megan, if you're watching, thank you so much. But I put it in here because there is one of the tabs I was just flicking through before I started filming this video. Am I going to read it out? No, I'm not going to read it out, but I'll put it here. I don't really want to say too much about the plot, but maybe I'll just read the back. In a remote Polish village, Janina, an eccentric woman in her 60s, recounts the events surrounding the disappearance of her 2 dogs. She is a reclusive, preferring the company of animals to people. She is unconventional, believing in the stars, and is fond of the poetry of William Blake. When members of a local hunting club are found murdered, she becomes involved in the investigation. By no means a conventional crime story, this existential thriller by Nobel Prize in Literature laureate offers thought-provoking ideas on perceptions of madness, injustice against marginalized people, animal rights, and the hypocrisy of traditional religion beliefs in predestination. Caused a genuine political uproar in Poland, and don't quote me, I'll back check this. I think it was banned. I think this book was banned, which is insane. If you read it, I think that's insane. The censorship, I think, is quite insane if it was true. Bible check. Anyway, read this. And then next, I read Stardust by Neil Gaiman. I have so many videos saved on my YouTube Watch Later playlist that is explaining what is happening with Neil Gaiman, because I don't know yet. I just know it's like weird sex stuff, but I've not watched any of them yet to see whatever. Stardust is a great book, and the film, immaculate. I think that's why I enjoyed this so much. I listened to a fully voiced audiobook of it as well, so it was great. But yeah, don't at me. Okay, so in what month are we on? We're on May. May. An okay month. Nothing really that special, and I know the Fellowship of the Ring is on here, and it was okay. Like, I know it was good, but for me, it was okay. The care and feeding of ravenously hungry girls was also really entertaining to read, and also the Satsuma Complex was also quite entertaining. I really didn't expect it like that, but it was quite a lot of fun. I did pick The Housekeeper and the Professor, and this is a very self-contained, sweet, quite saccharine almost novel about like found family or chosen family, and it is charming, it's sad, it's about a professor of mathematics who has significant memory loss. I think he kind of has a memory that, like, unless something is reminded to him, he'll forget about it like within an hour, including who people are, unless he has like a constant reminder of who they are. And it is his relationship with his housekeeper, and her, I think he's probably like a 10-year-old son, and how they find a way to break down that barrier. Definitely worth a read. So now we're into June. Okay. Oh god. I don't even think I want to talk about Earthlings. Yeah, I don't think I do. God. Goblet of Fire was good. I read the first 4 Harry Potters, kind of again, just like things to help me get to sleep. I think the second one, The Chamber of Secrets, is the best. And Sophie, if you're watching, she is reading through them for the first time. Despite knowing the films, loving the films, I'm waiting for her to get to the 5th one, see how long it takes her. But yeah, if you're watching it, hi Sophie. My favourite book that I read in, what were you on? June, is Stoner by John Williams. So I was given this cloth-bound copy as a belated birthday present from one of my dearest friends, and I saw so much in this book and I treasure it a lot. A lot is not even enough. I have a big space in my heart for this book, and I can't wait to reread it, which is not really something I've ever felt that much before. I think I have so much more I can learn and process just by reading this book, and it honestly is probably up there as my favourite book of last year, just of how much it means to me. And maybe again it was situational, but I just felt so much reading this and I wanted to read it so much, and I just even flicking through looking at all my little tabs, I just want to be back in it. And I don't think I was gonna try and explain, and maybe in the future I will, if I ever maybe go through my favourite books of all time or something, but I don't really feel like I can right now. It seems all doom and gloom, but it's in a good way. A little bit sad, but in a good way. That I adore this book. But that was June and that. I also did read the Iliad Crest, which I have here, which was good. I feel like I allowed myself to admit that I didn't fully understand it, which is something maybe other people find it easy, but I'm not going to understand every artist's intention or get something from someone from a piece of art or literature. But Iliad Crest was good, and I think with time and maybe some maturity I would be able to. I feel like there's something in there, but I'm not high enough level to be able to access it. July. I'm not talking about 1Q84. Another one I'm not talking about. I will be a woman talking about Woman Talking by Mariam Toes. Again, I forgot about this book until now, which is, it's not a book that I'm going to forget in my life, but I forgot about it until right now. This was great. I listened to the audiobook of this. I think that is an excellent way to consume this book because it takes place in one night, not that long ago, which was the most shocking part of this for me. Within the Mennonite community, which is like a religious community, and I think this happened in 2006. I will fact check this. But basically within this community, it turned out that there was these horrific assaults occurring to not only the young girls within the community, but to all women. It was roughly around 12 men that were charged with basically drugging the women using like through the window and assaulting all the women in the house, mothers and then the daughters and everyone. And the gas was like being supplied by the doctor of the community. Like, it was all so insular and nobody knew. And when the girls would wake up and said that they had nightmares or like hallucinations, like within the night, the doctor who was a part of this would like blow them off. And it wasn't until a woman woke up in the middle of the night and her husband, who had also been knocked out, they ended up waking up and they managed to catch some of them. Get to the point. Is about sort of two families of girls. They're obviously all quite interconnected. Not just girls, the women. There's about 3 generations worth of women within this barn, and they're sitting there and they're just discussing what they're gonna do, what they can do, if they can do anything. And it's just, I just thought it was so realistic. And I mean, it did happen. It's obviously been, again, fictionalized, but it's just great. And then I watched some videos on YouTube about the real happening of it, and God, it's just harrowing and disgusting. And I just think the book did a really good job. And this is where I wish I could articulate better, because I'm getting a sore throat with trying. The audiobook is a great way to listen to it. Again, I think I listened to a fully voiced one, so it was literally just women talking. Okay, moving on. Anyway, so I read another Claire Keegan this month, I think. I think I've picked 3, but just looking at the pictures, I hope I've picked 3. Did I? Yeah. Foster by Claire Keegan, a short story. Unbelievable. I won't say anything, but read it. The second book I picked for whatever month we're on, August, Young Mungo by Douglas Stewart. I think I've kind of talked about this in videos before, so I won't say too much, but this was excellent. And I have Shuggie Bain, also by Douglas Stewart, that I'm going to wait a little bit before I read, but I am very excited too. And then my final, oh God, these are in no order so far, but I also read I Who Have Never Known Men this month, by Jacqueline Hartman, and that was good. It was good. I think I've also talked about that before, but my absolute favourite from this month, and also up there again, I think, for one of my favourite books of the year, because Stoner was kind of one that affected me the most, and Drive Your Plough was one that I thought was all round affected me. Well, this book affected me, I don't know, too many good books this year, but Elena Knows by Claudia Pinera is quite a short. It might even be a novella. I read it, was my first book that I read on my Kindle. Fantastic. So good. It touches on so much that I feel, again, I don't really want to say, but if anyone is interested in asking me for more detail, I guess, just text me. So good. So succinct, so whole, and just, again, like I say, it touches on so much, but it does it so well that it was so impactful. Yeah, really great reading month that month, because I also read There But For The, which was my first own book club book. I also read 1Q84 book 2. No. I think we're on September. So my favourite book from September was The Woman in Black by Susan Hill. Susan Hill. Don't know why I said it like that. Great book. Excellent horror story. Not what I expected. When the film came out, when I was like in high school, I was super not into like slashers, maybe the wrong word for The Woman in Black, but like jump scare heavy, just scary film. I just like picked this up, like obviously since I've like really gotten into horror, and like it was so good. And I've not watched the film since, but I kind of want to because I quite like Daniel Radcliffe's film. But yes, great book, and that was like my first like spooky one of last year. In October, I then read We Have Always Lived in the Castle by Shirley Jackson. Excellent, absolutely. I loved this book. This is up there for last year. I read The Haunting of Hill House last year and I really liked it, but I loved this. It's a great novel. It's great. It's short. It's so many things. Yes. Two great horror stories. I'm so glad that I've found something that I really like. I love talking about it. Okay. What are we on? September, October. That was October. Okay, also in October, I read, what will I go for? Okay, we'll go for Carrie. So I would say that this was definitely one of my favourite books that month, and this was my first Stephen King novel, and I was surprised about how much I liked it because I was worried when telekinesis was mentioned, because I'm not huge on like supernatural powers, but this was good because it was kind of really actually just a buy. It was kind of just, it wasn't the main focus. First Stephen King, really good. I want to read Misery so much. So out of my one Stephen King's has been a success. I'm playing a date. I feel like I know I need to tread carefully with him, but okay. And then my last October book is Normal People by Sally Rooney. I think I've mentioned before that I read this in 2020 or 2019. I liked it, but I don't read a lot of romance, and I think I kind of just thought it was another romance. But rereading it, oh my god, it broke my heart, and Sally Rooney is just incredible. I am waiting very patiently till I feel like the time is right to read Intermezzo, because I've had it for a little while now, but I really don't want to. I want to read it at the right time for me, so I'm very patiently waiting to read that. It's out on display, but Normal People was so good, and it's just so, there's so much in it, not just about relationships. Well, it is about relationships, but about your effect on other people that you can apply to just friendships or any relationship in general. And that just really got me. I have thought about friendship a lot recently, and the values of it, and how you, unbeknownst to you, affect so many people. You need to revel in it. You need to revel in the kindness that you're given, and also just realize your potential, the effect that you can have on others, however small. And maybe that is maybe that's obvious or not really a revelation to a lot of people, but it's nice to think about. So yes, a less spooky book, but kind of spooky. Okay, I've run out of physical books to show you now, but in November I listened to both Death Valley by Melissa Broder and Maps of Our Spectacular Bodies by Maddie Mortimer. The Maps of Our Spectacular Bodies was a complete random pick off my library card list when I needed something to read, and I was completely taken. I have seen this book around, I didn't really know what it was about, and it was fantastic, and the subject matters and its themes are not normally something, or it's something that I find quite hard to perhaps read about or consume media about, because I often don't think it's done very well, or personally I don't think it's executed very well, but I think this was great, really good, and I definitely recommend it. Death Valley was just good. I again also have seen this, it's quite a popular read, and it was a wild ride, and I'm going to Death Valley this year. Oh my god, Death Valley, but that is another story. We don't have time. I just checked. I've been talking for 47 minutes. That is not to myself. I've been talking to myself for 47 minutes. Anyway, December. An okay month. I read 2 more of the series Unfortunate Events books. Read Bret Easton Ellis. This is my second. I read American Psycho a few years ago, an incredible book, disgusting book. Lesson Zero is good. It's good. Mary Shelley, Frankenstein. Good. And another surprising, I think I'm just surprised when I like contemporary novels, but Our Wives Under the Sea, really enjoyed its exploration of grief, and I'm not the arbiter of everything and I don't know everything, but I felt very moved and very like I think I might have learned a few things from it. I think I'm going to not talk anymore, because I do have so much more that I want to talk about, because this is going to be so long, because I don't know what I'm going to be able to cut, because all I'm doing is talking about books. But these are some of the books that I loved in 2024. Spotlight. They're falling. And I am not going to buy any books this year. One caveat for my own book club, if I have to, but if I can get it on audiobook or ebook, I will. But I'm not buying any books this year. I can be gifted books though. 2 caveats. I can be gifted books. So if I slip you a £5 and you happen to give me a book, that's really kind of you. I need to go because I'm going skiing in Bulgaria tomorrow, and I need to pack. I hope you're glad I'm back. I'm back for now. Okay, bye.